Meghan, welcome to the show. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's just awesome to have you here.
Oh, well, the feeling is very mutual, Dan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, what better way to have an epic day with someone as epic as you? You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mm,
100%.
there you go. There you go. All right. So starting the interview now, jumping straight to the questions. Let's go back in time here and tell me where the journey begins, basically.
Oh, the journey of Megan or the journey of being an actor?
Let's go with both. Why not?
You know what? They're pretty linked. So I kind of grew up in the theater, Dan. Like my grandma and grandfather were actors and directors, and they did community theater. So I would spend summers with them and like just live at that theater. I just remember how it smelled in like the
Mm,
backstage theater. And I used to go to rehearsals with my grandmother. I remember she was directing this show, and I was probably like, let's say 5 or 6.
okay.
And I would be like on book for them. So like they'd be rehearsing, and these are all like, I mean, thinking of it now as a grown woman, I'm like, these people must have been so annoyed. This little like precocious kid was there like correcting them on all their lines. But my grandma always like tells the story that I would memorize the lines so quick, and then and then she'd like hear me repeating them over and over again, and like it was just in my blood from a very young age.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay, that's pretty awesome. I love it.
yeah,
And like so, time went by. But tell me, like, what were some of the challenges, let's say, that you had when you were making those first steps in your acting career?
yeah. Like I think when you grow up in it, it's like it's acting when you're a kid. There's a freedom of being a kid, and you don't overthink it, right? And then when I like got older, went to theater school, started taking it a little more seriously, everything changes and you almost lose touch with that like inner child that is the reason you're good at this. It's like the ability to let go of ego and just be in the story. And so I think, yeah, when I first started like taking myself seriously, I think it was challenging because, well, nerves start to kick in, right? And it took me a little bit of time to learn how to like harness those nerves. Like that's energy that's there for a reason, that's like there, and it will serve you if you know how to like work it.
Hmm.
But when those kick in for the first time, like again, when I was a kid I didn't have that. But I think when I went to theater school and when I went to New York and I started being like, oh, okay, these are serious people now, I need to like be on, I got a little tripped up with nerves, and
Mm.
then yeah, I think too, in the same way, like you can get tripped up on this idea of like there's a way to get it right. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and of course there's like work to be done. You need to, like you and I were talking about earlier, you need to like take care of your vessel. When you're an actor, your body is your vehicle. You need to make sure you are like fed, and that you have enough water, and that you're healthy, and that you're able to breathe and show up, and like be prepared, do the homework, all of that. But this idea that like this thing was out here that I needed to achieve, and I guess like over time you start to realize like, oh, that's not true. It's in here.
Mm.
It's like I am the thing. I don't need to become the thing, if that makes sense. I just
Absolutely.
find it within myself and like uncover the layers and like utilize parts of myself.
Absolutely. The other day I had this interview with this actress. She goes to Stella Adler in New York. Yeah. And she was telling me that they have a class in which they basically teach them to, besides working on your craft, to also work on yourself. To have moments in which you can, I mean, that have like that basically take care of your sleep, take care of what you eat, take care of all of that at the same time.
Yeah, you are your product, and it is like you have to keep yourself healthy, and you have to, because really at the end of the day, yes, you can do all this homework and you can train, you can overtrain yourself sometimes, honestly. But if you know what you're doing and you're able to show up in a healthy body, that's when you can listen. That's when you can be present and listen and have an exchange with somebody, which is really what it's about, having that freedom to let go.
Absolutely, absolutely. And focusing here a little bit on your acting career, tell me like how you prepare a character. Now I understand that depends on the role, but what are like yeah like what is your approach on starting this process of creating a character?
Yeah, I would say it's different for every character, but there are
Totally.
certain things that, like, no matter what, I'm a writer myself as well as an actor. So for me, like, it starts on the page. And if you're lucky, you have good writing. And that's not always the case. But when you have good writing, like, there's nothing more delicious than like going through that script like a damn detective and just like figuring out every little thing. What does that say about the world? What does that say about me? What does that say about how I feel about the world, and vice versa? That is like, that to me is just like the most delicious work, is like that script work, and just
Mm.
what is the writer saying? Like, what am I here to serve? And then the other thing I love to do, no matter what, I'm also like very into wardrobe and stuff like that. But that, you know, depending on the character, that's not always the way in. For me, though, once I have it off the page, I like to take my character for a walk, like out into the world, and interact with people. Like, not that I'm necessarily like putting on a show or whatever, but just sort of investigate, like, how does this person move through the world? How does this,
Mm.
you know, cross the street? Like, how are they cautious? That kind of stuff can be dangerous, you know, if there's a
Yeah.
lot of
I bet it is. I bet it is. That's so cool. And also, I mean, at the same time, you get the chance to learn more things. You know, that is one of the cool things that I love about actors. The fact that you guys get a chance to play so many things. I mean, we're talking superheroes, and then the next one you go be a janitor or an astronaut or a teacher. You know, like all of the things that you are able to do, which I think that at the same time it expand your mind to later on the creation for more characters, right?
Yeah, it really like makes you super curious about the world, about like people that you meet. Everybody's a character and everybody's like the hero of their own narrative. So it is interesting to think about like the janitor and like what did he have for breakfast, and like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If, you know, we it's acting is a funny profession because you yourself as an actor go from feeling like the janitor to feeling like the superhero half the time. You know, like when you're on set and you're number one on the call sheet and everyone's like, can I get you anything? You're it all comes down to you hitting your mark, saying your line. You know, there's so much money that is pointed right at you. You go from feeling like so powerful and in your element, to then like the next day you're back to auditioning or
Yeah.
rejected for something else. You really emotionally run the gamut from feeling like, you know, the janitor and the superhero at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I also find very interesting the fact that during this whole creation of the character, that at the end of the day, once you're performing, once you have like the final product, when the audience gets related to the character, you know, when they actually care about the character, you know, like
Yeah.
for example in series like Game of Thrones, they will kill everybody. You will feel devastated when your character goes. You know, you will feel like you're actually losing someone you actually care, and I find that very curious because you don't know anything about. I mean, that character has nothing to you in common with it, like zero, nothing. But there's something about it that clicks on you, and also I find super cool the fact that you can leave you yeah like you can leave part of you if someone else might, you know, that they will remember this character for the rest of your life. I mean, for the rest of their life, and but at the same time, it's you who made that happen. You know, I mean, you were just the instrument, but you were able to deliver a message to someone that is going to stick to them for a long, long time. So I find that super cool.
Totally. Like you're able to access this thing that is so specific to you and yet super universal. And I think when we tap into that honesty of our own experience, that's when it becomes like, it's so wild to me, because like, as I said, I'm a writer too, and I just been working on this project that's based on something that happened in my real life. And as I send it out, it's I when I first wrote this, I'm like, oh, no one's gonna relate to this. This is such a weird
Totally.
and then you hear back like, oh my God, that happened to me too. And we hear this kind of thing all the time, but it is, we are so connected humans, and that's what this work is about to me.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned that you also write, tell me like how you create, basically, like what triggers it for you to be like, I'm gonna start writing about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I never have a problem feeling, you know, getting ideas.
Mhm.
It's the inspiration to like execute those ideas is less common. I work with a partner a lot of the time, Stephen Sheffer, shout out. We've been working together for over 10 years,
Wow.
and we create television mostly. Um, and we've got a couple of things in the pipeline, nothing you would have seen yet, but hopefully like in a year from now that story will be different. And we keep each other on it. We inspire each other, and sometimes we just make each other show up, which is half the battle with writing. But the show we're working on right now is like, we've just been obsessed with it. It's like I dream about this show. I dream about these characters. This is like, I feel this is what I have to say, you know, on a grand level, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
I personally get really obsessive. It's just always been the way. It's like I was like that with Leonardo DiCaprio when I was a teenager. Like he was on the wall in you know, every poster, and I just fall in love with a band. I fall in love with an idea, and I just obsess. I don't think that's healthy, but that's honestly how.
No, but it's cool. It's awesome because you're also, basically shows that it's part of you 100%, that it's part of your, like, yeah, like, oh, I'm just basically rambling right now, but anyway, I love it. It's super cool.
Yeah, it is. It is part. It's completely. There's no sort of separation. It's
Mm-hmm.
what I think about. It's what I talk about with my friends. It's who I am.
And like, so let's say you got this idea, you start writing, like, how is your process to it? I mean, do you take times between to write it, or do you, let's say, write entirely for one day you write, one day you don't? Like how is your thing? Do you usually, like, how long usually takes you to finish up writing something?
It's, I mean, a great question, and it's always different. Like the one series we're working on right now, we've written a pilot, and then we've worked with a couple of collaborators to like refine that pilot, which
Mhm.
is, you know, in essence, from start to finish, has taken 10 years. But
Jesus
we
Christ, okay.
yeah, but we haven't like worked on it exclusively. So like
Absolutely.
other project we've been writing really in earnest since the pandemic, like since lockdown started. And we have written 4 out of 8 episodes, and they're like hour-long episodes. And so we've just like kind of poured through this story just because it's so immediate for us. And so it's always different, right? It's just like and then yeah, I mean, I work on my own as well, and that's its own, you know, that's its own story. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but the truth is, it's like depends on the project,
Hmm.
the team, and it depends on, like, you know, I've had projects that I haven't even written a pilot yet, and we're already pitching it. And then the reverse is true sometimes too, where we've written a bunch of it and it hasn't seen the light of day yet. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I find that super cool because I do think that whenever you put like a time date or something, at some point you might get frustrated, and
yeah.
especially when you're creating something that is totally different, when you have like something that has already been made and you need to deliver into something that that is that into another thing. But when you're creating something, I do understand the fact that sometimes you need like inspiration or ideas to it. I mean, you just can't sit and be like, okay, I'm not gonna get up until I finish it, because then you're not gonna be able like to do it at all. So I find pretty cool the fact that you're able, like, from the things that you have written here and there, that it's totally different, because it shows that you take your time here to actually working on it and to make sure that it delivers good. So cool.
Yeah, yeah. And someone said to me once, you'll take as much time as you have. And it's so true. It's why we procrastinate. You know, it's like, if there's a deadline, you know, I will meet it. It's a matter of like how you get there. But yeah, sometimes you have to impose like self-inflicted deadlines, but yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting process. Like mixing the creative with business is always kind of innately oil and vinegar, because you know, my creative self, I'm like, if I had it my way, I would just be writing and acting all the time. But you have to pitch, you have to sell your idea, you have to audition, you know, there's always a sort of balance between the business and the art.
Absolutely, I love it. I love it. And now that you mentioned audition, tell me, what has been your worst audition ever?
Oh man, how much time do you have, Dan? I mean, it's been a long. I've had some awful auditions, and
Okay.
I've had some great auditions. And auditioning is a whole animal in and of itself, you know.
Okay.
I would say the most sort of like I remember walking out of this audition room just being ugh, like, ugh. It was a callback for a commercial for like a feminine product, like maybe you know, maxi pads or something, so a very
Yeah.
female product. And there was one note, which was that the woman was meant to be wearing tight yoga pants. That was the only kind of, you know, thing you had to know going in. And I walked into this callback for a female product, and it's five guys, like five middle-aged white guys behind this table. And like, okay, I'm like, all right, obviously it's always usually white guys behind the table, but just to have zero female presence on the panel, right?
Okay.
And just also no concern about like saying hello, looking you in the eye, making you feel human. Literally just had me stand there and then turn around in like a 360 and then do it again, but slower. And I just remember walking out of that being like, I feel icky, you know?
Mm.
And those
Yeah.
are the ones that like stick with you, because you're like, in this day and age, like that should not be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's weird that they don't have. I mean, I mean, like from what I've heard is that sometimes they will have, either like mixed, between male, female. They have like mixed. So the
Yeah.
fact that they were like only guys and they were telling you like just turn around, things like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that at the end you were feeling ugh, like ugh. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And yeah, it's even, you know, if it was a different product, it wouldn't have struck me like that, because it's there's always a lot of men, there's a lot of women too, and you're seeing more women in positions of like gatekeeper, like power positions, which is great, and I hope to see more of that. But it's traditionally like predominantly men. But just for a female product like that to have zero representation, I was like, oh, that's weird.
Mm, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I like I've discovered that auditions for commercials are are usually super weird instead of the ones that are for a TV show, film, thing like that. They're like totally opposite.
Totally. I mean, you're essentially commercials. I think you're more of a model than you are an actor.
Mm,
Obviously, those two lines blur a lot, but you're yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There are some commercials where you really need to use like, you know, acting skills,
absolutely. Yeah,
but a lot
absolutely.
of the time you need to look a certain way, and the camera needs to hit you at a certain time, and that's kind of the extent of why you're there.
Yeah, yeah. What I find funny about commercials is like the reaction they put it. Like for example, they will be showing this new brand of food or something like that, and like the reaction they have to put like, oh, it's delicious, like things like that, in which you're like nobody like real like nobody real actually will react to them. I mean, I understand it's for marketing and everything, but I find that very funny that they were that they had to like super act to them. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's pretty funny.
I had to do a commercial once. It was actually a great job. I had a lot of fun, but the whole thing was I went into this
Yeah.
um, bakery, and they hand me a cinnamon bun, and I take a bite right then and there, and it's like the chewing and the smile, and it's like, first of all, like, did I order this bun? Am I paying for this bun? I'm just like at the counter taking a bite, because it's like 15 seconds. They need to get the whole thing in 15 seconds. And I tell you, I've never done so many takes, because that icing is like getting all over your face like a cinnamon bun in, film. It's like there's so many things that can go wrong,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
so yeah, my mouth was pretty much a paste of cream cheese frosting by the end of that one.
Yeah, I can understand it. Yeah, there's certain type of foods in which they go. I mean, it ended up messy. So yeah, I know what you mean.
I'll probably never eat another cinnamon bun, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, you got like disgusted after it, like. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, and that's crazy. Okay,
So
and
it's a fun job. Good
yeah,
people.
absolutely. Yeah, as I said, I mean, yeah, I find commercials super interesting because of the whole reaction they have to put it. Or like, for example, whenever as you mentioned, they will try this new this either cinnamon or chicken wings, things like that. And I sometimes ask myself, like, how many takes did actually took for that take that we're watching. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the person who did that after eating that same product over and over would be like, no more, or like maybe like, okay, is it good? Yeah, and like spitting it over because like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
bet.
definitely had a spit bucket.
Okay. Now let's say that one day Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, I mean, you name it, they come to you with this idea in which basically goes that all of the characters you have played at the moment, they will gather to celebrate your birthday. Tell me, like, what will be the name of that film?
All the characters I've played together have gathered to celebrate my birthday.
All of them, since the very first one until the last one.
Okay. I think something like uh fragments of Meghan.
Okay. Okay. That sounds like there's some drama and comedy involved.
Hello, that's my whole bread and butter, the drama comedy combo.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about huh?
This is the stuff of life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, you can't have drama without some comedy. You can have some comedy with some drama on it. Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely. Now, if you had to describe your whole acting, writing career, but on a drink, which one you would choose?
Describe it as a drink.
Yep. For example, let's say that perhaps a glass of wine describe your career because it has to that you need to take that because it has aged well, so it take something like that.
So I'm gonna go with, we are talking a dry gin martini with olives. Here's why.
Okay.
Okay, it will kick your ass, but if you learn how to savor it, and you can like make it through, it will feed you at the end.
Okay.
You're gonna get that olive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that works.
And how would you call it? Let's say that if I go to a bar and I want to order that drink, how would you call it?
I think you would call it the blood and sweat of an actor.
Blood and sweat of an actor. Okay.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, I'll take it. Let's see what it says. Yeah. Okay.
It's a little dark, but I think it might draw an audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's curious. I mean, I now wanna try it, and to get a lot of them until a point in which I can say, like, I can totally feel now. I can totally see what is this about.
I get it now.
Absolutely, I love it. Now, let's say also that one day for your birthday you get a time machine, but here's the catch: you can only go back in time once and meet with a 13-year-old version of yourself. So, what advice could you give to that little you?
Ooh. Okay, but what about like the butterfly effect of it all? Like, do I then impact 13-year-old me moving forward? This is a bit of a conundrum.
That's true, actually.
What do you think?
Huh. Yeah, okay, let's say that we have butterfly effect involved. Yeah.
Then maybe I wouldn't say anything. Okay, a couple things.
Okay.
One, you have to go through what you go through to get to here and now. I totally believe in that. And two, I think advice is great and everything, but no one takes advice. People are like on their own journey, and 13-year-olds probably, I don't know. I don't want to mess up the metaverse of it all.
Okay.
And B, I don't know. I don't know. I think I wouldn't. I don't know if I would give her advice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what about if you could go back in time into any stage of your life and rewatch it,
Oh,
just watch it, not involved. I mean, not doing anything, just being able to like sit back and enjoy it. Let's say.
yeah. I think I would love to see like myself, like what I can't remember, like as a young child. I'd love to like witness, little
Mm,
unaffected Megan at her core. I think that'd be a cool exercise for anyone.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
my father has all these tapes back when I was little, and I think like 2 years ago, something like that. I watched them, and it was like the most emotional moment ever. Like literally the most. I was like, how, like, yeah, it was amazing. But yeah,
That's really cool. Yeah, actually, my cousin just showed me a video that I'd never seen before, and my dad was filming. My dad's now passed,
yeah,
and I was really, really little, and we're all at the beach, and for whatever reason, my dad was filming, and he just like was zoomed in on me, and he was getting such a kick out of me in the water, like I'm like trying to swim. I'm just kind of just learning to like put my head under, and I look so ridiculous, and I'm just like doing these big like gasps for air and like going under. And you can kind of hear him like behind the camera, like chuckling. And I was like, it was such a emotional, like perfect little moment that I got
yeah,
to.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. And right. So let's say that if you could go out, yeah, go out for some drinks, but you have to go with one of your characters. So my question is, if you had to go out, go party, which character would you take with you to make that happen?
What I want to like have drinks with. So, okay, this is totally easy. I played there's a show on Disney Plus called The Mysterious Benedict Society.
Yeah. Okay.
I played a pool shark. She's like, okay, that show is set kind of like it's I don't think it's actually like in a specific time period, but it's kind of set like in like it's almost got a 50s vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, it's basically like Rizzo from Greece, you know what I mean? Like she's the badass, she's like the smoker, she's the pool shark, she's got like a little glove, and she's like a blast, like wearing the coolest clothes in the place, and just like do not fuck with me energy. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Go ahead.
um just total like badass vibes, and I think she would be a blast to hang out with.
I love it.
She would get you into every after party, she'd be on every list, she knows everybody, like forget it.
I love it. I love it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I love it. All right. Now, my last question here is, what motivates you? We all have those days in which we basically just want to quit. And it's so interesting because sometimes nothing bad is happening. Everything it's okay, but we suddenly get into this idea that we basically are, yeah, that we suck in what we're doing it, that we should quit. That this has been a waste of time. You start to compare with others that are the same age or who are like on the same, like studying at the same school as you, and you're like, what the hell, like getting inside into this toxic bubble. It's really simple. But my question here is, what gets you out of those thoughts and pushes you on this journey that you have been creating for so many years now?
Yeah, great question. I mean, I guess all I can say is that I don't know what it is, but I've always had the audacity to carve this path.
Absolutely.
I've had this sort of unquenchable thirst within myself, and this unshakable confidence. As bad as I might feel, as horrible as I might go down these like comparison holes, of course all that stuff exists within me, but I've always had this unflinching need to do what I do. I also get a lot of joy out of it, and I think that's something that you can lose in this industry, is the joy. I really love even auditioning. Like I really enjoy creating that character, even if I'll never see her again. Like I love spending that time with her and doing that work, and then sending it out into the world. And so I guess I don't know, it's just I have an unextinguishable fire.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And yeah, I mean, what can I say here? I love what you do. I love what you do, but also I love your whole vibe to it, like your whole passion to it, because besides besides showing us that you're super talented and badass, of course, you also show us that you actually love it. You know that is something that actually makes you happy, and like the whole passion you put to it. That is super cool, and that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, like you and I were talking about this earlier, like that's what you're doing too. You're carving out a path for yourself because you love it and it's hard, and you have to like want to be there at the end of the day, because you know what? We're all going to die. And
Yeah,
so
that's
how-
horrible. Yeah,
and like spoiler alert, we're all going to die.
we're
So
all gonna
like
die.
how do we want to spend our days? How do we want to like show up on this planet while we're here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you tend not to think about it, and it's interesting. Like the whole mind works. That the mind is not reminding you every day that you're gonna die. It's like the mind is like just like putting that idea away, and then you just move on with your life. But then it happens that whenever you get a moment to sit back and be like, wait a minute, like 10 years already passed, and what I did. There's so many things that sometimes I do think that maybe we're not doing things because we think that we are gonna be forever. But once you start getting old, and once you start realizing that there are some things now that you can't do back when you were younger, I think that's when it hits you the first time, in which shows you that clock's ticking, and you should use your time to do something that makes you happy. I mean, I do think that that should be kind of the path to. I mean, of course, it's difficult for you to discover that thing that makes you happy. I mean, we all know that sometimes it can take your whole life or decades for you to finally discover what makes you happy. But I think that if you find it, stick with it.
Yeah, how lucky, right? How lucky are we? I think too, there's this little thing that comes in the back of my head, which is when I'm trying to make a decision about whether I'm going to take on a project, or, what I'm going to pour my energy into writing wise. I always think like the time is going to pass regardless. Like
Yeah.
these 10 years are going to go, whether I want them to go slower or faster, it doesn't matter. It's going. So like, do I want to find myself there having put this energy in here, or
Mm.
or not? Like the time is going to pass regardless. So how do I want to find myself on the other end of that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, totally. And also, I mean, if you don't try it, worst can happen. I mean, like the
Yeah.
other day, I was having this conversation that this guy I knew had like this idea to create yeah, like anyway, my point here was that when I asked him like, hey, and why don't you do it? Well, because I don't know, maybe people is not gonna like it. And I was like, okay, I mean, if you don't do it now, I mean, you already have the worst outcome, which is nothing. So why not
Yeah.
trying it? Why not like trying it? If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, okay, then that wasn't for you. But at least you tried it. At least you got out of that list and be like, okay, I did this. Check. Let's try something new now. I do think that life is about at the same time discovering what makes you happy, but you're not going to discover it unless you try new paths here and there, and to make sure what makes you feel comfortable and what doesn't. So.
Yeah. And like that's a very real fear. Like maybe no one's going to like it. That's like, you know what? Probably there's going to be people that don't like it.
Absolutely.
But it cannot be, you can't be like creating only to receive positive feedback. You need to be, I think we have to be creating because we're compelled to, because we have something to say, because it matters to engage in conversation, or to highlight something that someone else might need to see that day.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The other day I was seeing this interview that I did to Dead Mouse, like this DJ, and he was saying that if what you create can make one person move, or like one person dance, you're good to go. And basically I can understand that if what you do, one person like it, you're basically good to go here. Then that shows that you are on the right path. So you just need to keep going it, and then one will become two become five, then 10, and who knows. So
Yeah, and then it gets less scary too.
yeah, because I do think that is like the thing that perhaps people wouldn't make that jump. The fact that the whole rejection thing, which of course, I mean, nobody likes to be rejected or being called, an asshole or things like that. I mean, I get
Yeah.
it, but at the same time, I mean, I do think that is part of the whole experience. That at some point there's gonna be someone who doesn't like what you do, and they're gonna express it to you, and that's fine. I mean, they're totally on the right to do it, but it's up to you to either take it or not. The other day, someone told me that critiques and bad comments are like a rock, meaning that you can pick up that rock, or you can just leave it there on the floor and keep moving forward, and
Yep.
and keep creating, because at the end of the day, there's space for everyone. And as I said, maybe what you do, some people are not gonna like it, but some people will. So focus on the ones who will, and just keep moving forward, and I think you will be good to go, of course. So
Like, take what serves you and leave the rest. Like someone said to
absolutely.
me, you don't have to sign for that package. You don't have to sign for that package. Like you can take it and then you can leave it and move forward. Like let it serve you. And I think too, as actors, we are rejected all the time. And as a writer, you're rejected all the time. And you have to kind of find a way to let that fuel you and not stop you.
Mm. And that's how the cookie crumbles.
Yes.
I love it. I mean, at the end, what can I say, Megan? I love what you do. It's amazing. It's super inspirational, and the fact that you keep doing it, it's also the living proof that dreams can come true. And of course, there's so much hard work that you put it that we don't know, but the fact that you are keep hanging there and keep creating and keep working and keep making like keep doing stuff. That is super cool, and that's amazing. That's epic. That's badass. So
Thank you. Thank
yeah.
you.
No, thank you so much. I also want to thank those who watch this episode. Thank you so much. If you are either listening it on Spotify or Apple Podcast, or what you watch here on YouTube, I mean the video is over, so go follow Megan like right now. I'm gonna leave in the description below our social media to Instagram, so you can like follow her. Yeah, like after watching this, go follow her. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Megan, because she's amazing. She's badass. We all know that. And again, Megan, thank you so much for making this happen. Have an incredible rest of the day, an incredible upcoming weekend. Keep killing it, keep creating it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks, Dan. Can't wait.
There you go.